Survivor Specialist Phil and Alexa are back. Episode 5, Game Changers, Power Rankings, and Predictions for today. We'll give you your rundown of all the boot lists and prop bet games and all that fun stuff. Talk about Alexa's terrible eliminator pick last week and how she's out of it and everybody who's left. And, of course, we'll go through our power rankings, who's in good spots. Are Haley and JT absolutely doomed? Is there any way one of them recovers? We're going to, that's what we do.
I'm just saying, when you tweeted out last night, seeing who could redeem themselves more, JT, Haley, or Alexa's internet, I think my internet is slightly improved. So my internet might be my new eliminator pick for next week.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself. Okay?
I know, yeah.
No
we're not even 2 minutes in, and I'm already getting cocky.
I know. That was a main talking point. We're hoping everything will be better this time. We haven't had problems on Sundays. We only had a problem with the recap, of course.
Of course, only when the biggest episode in the season happens. We have severe internet issues, but we're here. You guys are still watching, so thanks for sticking with us through that dark time.
And thanks for thinking it was a joy and all of your great help and comments. It's always fun when it's a disaster and people don't completely ruin your life. We do have a great burn that is going to be read on here. I'm definitely reading.
Oh my god, that was such a good burn.
We deserve that one. Do you have that up or no? I don't know where
I don't have it up.
We should probably start the podcast with that and then go right into our power rankings. But that was a great burn.
I think so. I don't have the direct quote if you want to pick it up, but if you want to pull it up, but it was something along the lines of like, I'm tired with the poor connection between you two. Sometimes it's the internet, sometimes it's your chemistry.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I honestly can't even be mad that he said it because it was so funny.
Yeah, tired of the poor connection between you guys. Sometimes it's your internet, sometimes it's your chemistry. There you go. CC Trubiak.
That was like someone just I cracked up. Someone just dropped the hottest diss rap, and they're gonna go make $1 million off of it. And you and I are gonna be sitting here podcasting with bad internet and horrible chemistry.
All right, so here's the deal. Just for the comments' sake, because I know there's always some confusion in the live chat. We don't read the live chat comments. Tweet at us, Phil_and_Will, or comment on our recap video, and we'll read through them. We have so many there, so it'll be jumping around again. This isn't like the old days where we had 3 comments, and we were excited that we got 3. We have a lot, and this is great, but, for the sake of time and not making a 2.5, 3 hour podcast, we'll probably jump around a little bit, not touch on everything if we've already touched on it. Probably not do too many repeat comments. But anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that's where you comment, because I know some new people were like, you skipped my comment. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I didn't see it. So there you go.
Picking favorites over there, Phil.
I will say, though, as I said, we're not going to read the live chat. Anna Mark watching from Romania. That feels cool. So that's cool.
Wow, look at us. We are international.
We are international. All right, let's start off these power rankings. I'm beating Alexa 23-21. She had Malcolm in 15 last week. I had him in 14, so she picked up points on me there. I'm going to start off number 1, Troyzen, Idol. He was terrible in the reward last week, but they won the immunity challenge without him even participating. Now it's just going to be 2 tribes are not going to go to tribal. I don't think we're going to have that happen again. So all he has to do is finish first or second. That tribe, I don't see them losing. They're not distraught. Malcolm made it seem like the new Nuku tribe was really not cohesive at all. It seemed like Sandra and Michaela had problems. Varner had some problems. JT obviously has his problems. And, that to me screams they're done this week. And Troyzen isn't on that tribe, so Troyzen is my number 1.
Yeah, Troyzen's a pretty safe bet to put at your number 1. That Nuku tribe is just, if they were any form of big happy family beforehand, they are not even close to that after what happened last week. I feel like because Malcolm's so likable, because he's so easy to get along with, he was probably some glue that held them all together, and that glue is gone. And now they all hate JT. There's a lot of loud personalities on the tribe. Things aren't looking good for them. In terms of my number 1, I actually have Zeke, and I never thought I'd put him this high. I've never had him even close to my number 1, but in a similar vein, their tribe is not going to lose, and if they don't get first place, they're probably going to get second place in a challenge. Zeke is doing perfectly fine in challenges. He's got a good thing going with 3 on the puzzles. He's got a good thing going with 3 in terms of a quasi-alliance. I know we haven't even had the chance to see many alliances with them, but they definitely have some kind of relationship, and he's laying pretty low. I think he from how he played on Millennials versus Gen X, and I think he does want to start a little slower this time, especially when you have Ozzy, Troyzan, Sari, these bigger names on your tribe. So I think Zeke is in a very safe position. I don't see why anyone would want to vote him out right now, so that's why I have Zeke in my number 1.
Yeah, I only have him a little lower, not too far. I don't really have a reason for him to go. I really think this week comes down to 3 people. And I don't think that this Green Tribe loses, so I don't think they go. But I'm going to put Brad at 2.
Wow.
And I'm going to put Ty at 3. And my reasoning is I think Brad, Ty, and Sierra are the alliance there. I think Debbie's on the outside looking in. She looks like she's going to have this blow up. But it's not like Haley's going to be like, oh, Debbie, good thing, like you and me now, we can be buddies because you just blew up. And then they're not going to bring in another person. Like Ty's not going to go with them. Ty's going to stick with Brad. He just played an idol for Sierra. Sierra's definitely in with Brad. I feel like the two of them are so tight. So I look at the position of Brad and Ty in this tribe, and I think they're in a great spot. And if Debbie blows up, all that does is just mean Haley's not going home. So, yeah, I got Brad 2, Ty 3.
I'm hoping that Haley can forge more of a relationship with Sierra because it sounds like they finally do have a little more something going. And, yeah, if Haley's with Debbie, I know we saw just a tiny clip of them last week. I don't think that's very good for Haley. I think Haley's kind of in a tough position no matter which way she turns right now. I get why you have Brad so high. I have him lower just because I don't think their tribe is – I mean, yeah, Nuku's falling apart, but they've gone to tribal council too. So I have them lower just because I don't see them winning too many challenges, and that just gives them the threat of going out. There's no idol on there. Maybe they replanted an idol, but there's no idol to play with those 5 at the moment. And Brad has become the pretty clear ringleader, at least from the viewer side. And I know that he and Sierra definitely have a good bond, but being that much of a leader that early does it is a little it makes me a little nervous for him. So I have him a little more middle of the pack. I think he is in a very good position, but just because he's a very clear leader, Debbie flips out on him. Not that she has too much pull, but she makes it very clear where he stands. And just because they'll be losing challenges, I have him a lot lower. And Ty, I actually have Ty higher than Brad.
Yeah, my reason with Brad and Ty is what they did last week, playing that idol, keeping Sierra around. Even Haley, who they told her they ended up telling her that Sierra had the idol, and then we get that great GIF, which I think I've watched 5,000 times because it's just her smiling, and it's so funny. But anyway, goddess in the making, I think people were saying. But anyway, I just think that brought them together so much more. And with what just happened, and like you just said, with Malcolm going, that might have been the glue that was holding it together because Malcolm was such a sociable and likable guy. I really think that tribe is done. I mean, JT and what do you call it? JT, it really has to carry that tribe. Aubrey's good at challenges. Michaela's good at challenges. So the 3 of them can do it, but you got to carry Jeff Varner and Sandra. You don't get to sit either of them out. You have to participate. They both have to participate in the next challenge. And so with Brad and Ty and Sierra and Haley and Debbie, what happened with that last thing, I felt like that brought them – I feel like that's going to bring them more together, and they're actually going to be better at the challenge. Now, granted, I don't know what Debbie blows up about. I think Debbie's just dramatic, but we'll see. But I just think I think coming out of last week, Mana's in a better position than they were going into last week. I mean, and granted, they didn't lose a player, so that makes sense. But I just think as a tribe, togetherness – they're going to be a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from on that. The only thing that I see Haley being the wild card there. Haley, yeah, she voted with them, but she's not a part of their tribe. She's still there, and Brad basically said that at the tribal council. She is their number 5. And if by some grace of God Haley does make it out of this tribe, I don't know if she's going to stay with them. She might go back to her skeleton of the Nuku tribe and flip on them. So I think for the immediate future, I see where you're coming from on that Sierra, Ty, Brad alliance, but I'm still not very comfortable with them. So I have them a little bit scattered. I really just, my top 6 is just some combination of the Tabua tribe. I have my Sarah at my number 2, Troyzan at number 3. Sarah, I think it's the start of her story right now. We got one or 2 sentences from her in the preview. Who knows if they'll even go to tribal council? Probably not. But I have her at my number 2. I think she's pretty safe. I don't think she'll be the immediate target there. Troyzan's at number 3 for very similar reasons to why you had him at number 1. I just can't put any Taboola members under like 7 and lower, because I have no reason for them to go right now.
That's risky though. I mean, when you're doing power rankings, because if they do lose, then you're taking a big hit. Not that I want you to change, because I want them to lose now, but I'm just saying.
I know now you really want them to lose, but we just, based on past episodes that we've watched, I don't want to hedge all my bets on a preview, but we've seen minimal conversation with them in the preview. There's no reason for me to believe that they go to Tribal Council with all of this Nuku drama, with the Mana tribe being what it is. I don't see Taboola going home. I hope I'm right, but I really just don't. I don't see anything going home. So my 4, 5, and 6 are Ozzy, Sari, Andrea.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. So if Taboola loses, I'll take my points and run away.
Just run away.
Okay. So you put all of Taboola up there. I have Sarah at 4. I agree. I mean, the thing is, she's been invisible, and yeah, she's not a big fan favorite. So of course she could be the invisible edit of the season, but they played her up as a villain in the first episode, and now she's got in the preview talking about how she's going to be the villain and play as a criminal and all that again. So her storyline definitely has more of an arc to it to come, not just, oh, we talked about it in the premiere and then we're going to talk about it in a reboot episode. I feel like there's got to be something more going on here. And I feel like Sarah, nobody dislikes her yet. So like, why would I would be really confused if Sarah went home this week, which, like I said, I don't think they're going to lose, but I think you're right. This is where her storyline picks up. My 5 is actually Michaela, just because I don't see any possible way she goes home on that tribe. Malcolm was saying Michaela and Sandra do not get along at all, but JT is such an easy target, and if JT has an idol, JT is obviously going after Sandra. So it's one of those two going home this week from New Nuku. If they lose, Michaela has no chance of catching that stray bullet, because Sandra's not going to pull out an idol too. There's going to be one idol at the beach. So, yeah, I think Michaela's fine, and I think Aubrey, who I have at 6, is absolutely fine too.
I'm really surprised that I remember reading that Sandra and Michaela really don't like each other, but I'm really surprised we haven't seen that, because that would make for such good TV. We've already seen Sandra being who she is, and we've seen Michaela in her previous season. We've seen her being so quiet. I kind of want to see them fight, not for the drama, just because I think that would be so entertaining to just hear them throw whatever they have at each other. So hopefully we do get to see some of that soon.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're so similar. I think that's why they probably don't get along. You butt heads. It's like, yeah, you have like the people that you hang out with and like that you like that are very similar to you. But when they're so similar to you, it's like the Seinfeld thing where it's like you want to date like a person who's just like you, and then like you start hanging out with them and you're like, no, like I don't like me. Like, get out of here. So I think Michaela and Sandra are just both so vocal. And Michaela wants to win, and she obviously looks at Sandra as somebody who's never going to help them win. And that's why I think Michaela also has a problem with Sandra.
Yes, absolutely. Man, I hope we do get to see some of that. And I think Sandra's days are numbered, so I hope whatever we can get, they'll give to us.
Yeah. And then I'll just say my number 7 is Ozzy. So he had a great episode last week. Like, great. I rewatched the episode. He had a great episode. Talking about him catching fish. There was no reason to include that. That was just like, I mean, not a winner's edit, but definitely like a hero's arc here. And like that, Ozzy's not going anywhere anytime soon, and kind of surprises me. I think they might let Ozzy hit the merge, which just because he doesn't go to a single tribal.
Yeah, I don't even know if the phrase would be let him get to the merge. I think he will just get to the merge. There's no one letting him there. He hasn't been to tribal council yet. Sari hasn't been to tribal council yet. Mm-hmm. Those two, I was feeling really down on them going into this, but they haven't lost. And you know what? If they make it to the merge without going to a single tribal council, that is huge for them.
Yeah, no, it's very, very true. Yeah,
that's huge.
I have got 7.
You did your number 7. I have Sierra at my number 7. I think she is in a better position than Brad just because she isn't the face of this alliance. Yes, she was saved, but she knew she was going home. She was, when Jeff said you're a deer in the headlights, it was clicking that she was going home. And Brad is the one who actually pointed to Sierra and he said, Ty, give it to her. So, I mean, Brad and Sierra, to me, they're one and the same. But she showed a lot of foresight, and she's not the face of this alliance, and I think that's going to be huge for her. Debbie doesn't blow up on her. Debbie blows up on Brad.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it actually almost bit her last week that she wasn't the face of the alliance, because they were like, oh, well, this is the strongest woman. She won't have an idol. And Malcolm said it was because they all like love Sierra, but they just didn't think she would want to get her fingers dirty. And they didn't think somebody would play an idol for somebody else in their tribe this early in the game. So they really were just making that assumption based on Sierra is never going to be the one who's digging for idols.
Which is surprising that they say that she isn't going to be the kind of person to be digging for idols, because isn't she like a barrel racer? Isn't she like a rodeo? You know, she works in something similar to that. I think she would dig in the sand for an idol if she needed one.
Yeah, guest appearance, by the way.
Yeah,
but no, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't understand. I'm kind of surprised, and who knows? They made the right guess. She didn't have the idol, but Ty gave it to her, so they were wrong on that. I have her at 8. I think she's fine. Really, my top 9, I don't think have any chance of going home. It's after that where it starts to get a little sketchy. But I have her at 8, and then I have Zeke at 9. I don't know. Zeke, we haven't really heard too much from, which is crazy. Just kind of like he's like a little kid, so excited to be there, and which is really fun to watch because I was talking to one of my friends about it, and I was saying with Malcolm coming back after Philippines, he still wanted the show to be all about him in Fans vs. Favorites too. With Russell coming back right after Samoa and going to Heroes vs. Villains, he wanted it to be all about him. He was better than them, whatever. With this one, Zeke doesn't think he's better than them. He is just so happy to be there and so pumped about it. It's very unique because he doesn't have the arrogance that those other people had, and he's kind of just excited, I think, to be a part of it. And he might never hit a tribal before the merge, unless of course there's another swap, which I'm not sure if there is, but that could happen.
And it's odd that he doesn't have that arrogance because he was so arrogant in Millennials versus Gen X. And I know it's a completely different animal being on an all-noob season versus a returnee season, but it is, I like seeing the character in Zeke, and I like seeing that there are two different types of Zeke. There's the very strategic, very intense Zeke, and then there's oh my God, Suri, I would never vote you out Zeke. It's enjoyable to watch, and I don't know if he has as clear of an arc as Sarah or maybe Michaela would, but there's no reason for him to go home. That's why I have him so much higher than you. My number 8, I have Ty. I think he's in a great position. He's not in a great position to win, but he's in a perfect position to just keep staying. He is a pawn in the Sierra and Brad alliance. He's very safe. There's no reason to get rid of him because if he finds an idol, you point at Sierra and he just gives it to her. He's in a very safe position for a very long time.
I just want to say, I actually think Ty is playing a pretty good game here. I was hard on him in the first episode for his reaction to Suri, but then after watching it and reading some comments and seeing all that, it's more like he just wanted to gain Suri's trust and be kind of tell her without telling her. And actually, the other night, I thought that was pretty good because we saw what a disaster he was with idols in Korong. And, he plays one time and then he doesn't play one the next time. And it was just a disaster. And I think he learned a lot from that. And I think he really does like Brad and he really does like Sierra. And I think Ty can be dangerous because everybody's just assuming he's got no shot, which I think is actually the best thing going for him right now. And to get rid of his biggest ally, which is Caleb, it shows he's playing the game. And then he makes that move last night or on Wednesday night. Those are two pretty good moves for a guy who was a disaster on his season.
Yeah, I think I'm curious to see what would happen if he made it to the final tribal council. I hope that I like him. I guess I don't see his game the same way that you do. I still think that it is interesting that he works with a Scott, he works with Jason, he works for a Brad. He's always with kind of the bigger muscular guys. So he is kind of the yin to their yang. But I don't see him correcting how he did in Final Tribal Council, because I feel like even if he does play a great game, he wouldn't get the respect that he deserved for reasons that are outside of his control.
No, and some people just have that right off the bat, and that's kind of why I didn't, when Will was saying he thinks Brad's going to win, which now I'm looking at Brad's, so far it looks like Brad might be the favorite to win this season. But before the season starts, you sit there and say, man, he just has that whole thing coming in from Blood vs. Water. He's not very, he doesn't seem that likable. He's got all this money. Why would you give it to him? And then he actually starts playing the game, and you're like, maybe things are going to change. And I think Ty can change. But when you come in with that already on your back, it's hard, you have to work to get it off. And I don't know if Ty's done so much to get it off. whereas Brad has. You know what I mean? Like Brad is leading it and Ty's kind of following. And people might still view that as he's playing the same game, which I don't think he is.
I still think he is playing a fairly similar game. Voting out Caleb that early was I didn't really expect that from him. Maybe he just knew that he wasn't going to get the numbers otherwise. But I'm not completely sold on him. I still think that he's just going to let Brad and Sierra tell him what to do, and he's going to do that. I hope maybe I'm wrong, but at the moment that's still what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing a change Ty yet.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Who do you got at 9?
Number 9, I have Michaela. She is one of 2 challenge assets on her tribe, one of which is JT, who's probably going to go home. I was about to say she's not bothering anyone, but that was before this whole Sandra thing. But she isn't really bothering anyone. Yeah, she and Sandra don't gel, but there are a lot of people in alliances who don't gel. They just vote the same way for the sake of numbers. And I think Michaela's doing pretty well right now. There's absolutely no reason to get rid of her. The reason I have her at number 9 as instead of 3 or 4 is because the chances of her going to tribal council are pretty high. And anyone who's at tribal council isn't safe unless they have individual immunity, which is not happening right now.
Yeah, no, that's true. Now, keeping with Nuku, and this is my number 10, also my eliminator pick, I have Varner. And
the bold winner pick.
Question, what?
It's a good winner pick. Eliminator. Oh my gosh. No, terrible winner pick.
I didn't pick him to win.
Terrible winner pick, decent eliminator pick.
This is why Alexa's out. She thought we were picking winners every week. Anyway, I have Varner. And my reason for Varner here is I think JT's going or they switch it to Sandra. My thing is, does JT need to find an idol, or does somebody like Michaela and somebody like Aubrey say, forget this. We don't want to keep losing. Let's get rid of Sandra now. JT might not be with us, but if they don't know if there's a swap coming up. So how do you sit there and just keep losing and losing and losing? But with Varner, yes, he's weak. But since JT was clearly trying to target Sandra last week, I feel like that's where his sights are set. And now obviously they're going to blow up on each other this week. So I think that is exactly where his sights are set. A chance to go, but I also don't think that he would vote out Sandra because I think he's using Sandra as a shield right now because she will always be weaker than him. And I don't think Michaela or Aubrey need that type of shield. And JT certainly doesn't. So I wonder if they could work something where they actually get rid of Sandra, which, could happen. But I don't think it happens to Varner at all.
I don't think Varner goes home either. I think he does need Sandra as quite the opposite of a meat shield. He needs her because she's also bad in challenges. But he can't hide that he's bad in challenges. That his last performance was, you saw the look on his face. He looked like he was about to collapse. He was so upset. I don't know if he'll flip on Sandra. I think just Sandra or JT are going home. But I think if JT would grab Michaela to vote Sandra out rather than grabbing Varner. I think Varner's not a smarter player, but I think Varner is thinking a couple steps ahead. So yeah, that's a decent spot. I have him at number 11, so I'm just pegged below you with him.
Okay.
I have Aubrey at number 10, Varner at number 11. Same difference. Even if JT does find an idol, JT plays it on himself. He's not going to throw the stray bullet at Aubrey or Varner. He's going to throw it at Sandra because he's made it very clear that that's who he wants to go home. So although Aubrey and Varner are, I guess, more likely to go to tribal council than anyone in Tavua, I think they're in a decent spot. Not a great spot, but they're in a decent spot to survive next week. And Aubrey, we've just heard nothing from Aubrey, and I don't think that they would just get rid of her with her having such a small edit because she was such a fan favorite on her season. I don't think they would do that to the viewers. And
it's so recent. And Aubrey, I just wonder, this week to me feels like Sarah's going to come out and start, really getting a storyline. And I wonder if Aubrey's storyline starts to build this week. And I wonder if they do make a move on Sandra. Because I was going to pick Sandra for my eliminator because I'm like, JT's definitely going. But if JT finds an idol, Sandra's gone. And then I was starting to look at the tribe and I'm like, Michaela would definitely vote with JT if she could get the numbers. Would Aubrey? And I think Aubrey could turn into a swing vote in this tribal, possibly. And this could be where Aubrey's storyline starts to really pick up and develop.
And we don't know much about who Aubrey's really aligned with because she wasn't super on Sandra's side back when they were the huge Mana tribe. We just don't really know who she has a tight connection with. And I feel like she's very likable. I think she could get along with everyone. I think I see Varner staying with Sandra before I see Aubrey staying with Sandra.
Yeah, no, for sure. My 11, I have Cirie. My 12, I have Andrea. I don't think they go to tribal, but just in case they do, Troyzan's going to play as idol, and I think he either targets Cirie or he targets Andrea. It's one or the other. Because Cirie had that.
Afraid of those women's alliances.
Well, Cirie had that confessional where it was like, oh God, and then Troy does this. He is just done. And then you had like Andrea the week before talking about it, and I'm like, they're setting up for Troy's going to get one of them. He's going to get one of them here because they're getting too arrogant. And honestly, what we saw with Debbie last week, and I don't think we talked about this too much, was Debbie saying Haley is done. You know, after they had their conversation, she's like, Haley has no chance. She is gone. See you later. Whatever Debbie said. And I think they might be setting up Debbie to go out before Haley and Haley to somehow turn the tables on her. And it seems like, you know, she might have her work done for her this week. But I'm looking at those two confessionals. You get the one from Cirie, the one from Debbie in the same episode. And I'm like, there's some underdog storylines going on here with Troyzan, with Haley, with JT at this point. Something good could happen from these. Like there still could be some movement here.
I guess, yeah, there's a reason for both Cirie and for Andrea. Troyzan outwardly said something about Andrea, and Andrea outwardly said something about Troyzan. That's why I think he would target her first. But Cirie has been a part of one of the most dangerous women's alliances ever. So I think that could make Troyzan target her. So that's why I could see him going for either of them. I don't know though. I just don't think they lose. But yeah, if they do lose, I think Andrea could go home. But at the same time, we've heard so little from her, and I don't see any purple edits happening this season. So I feel like I'm still waiting for something to come from Andrea. Every person who's been voted out so far, we've had a relationship with as a viewer. If Andrea or like Aubrey went home next week, I would just be confused.
I mean, Andrea, though, has consistently gotten like one confessional. Like, so it's not like they're completely hiding her.
But her confessional last week was just about how great Ozzy is. Like, it wasn't about her. And yeah, I guess that was to add to Ozzy's hero arc. But it wasn't like an Andrea confessional. I mean, it was because she said it, but it wasn't anything about her.
Well, and this comes down to, I don't think Tavoo is going, but they keep on showing Andrea. They keep on showing Ozzy. They keep on showing Cirie. I mean, I'm starting to get the feeling that they might make a deep run, and this Tavua tribe might be the one that takes over post-merge.
I think they will too.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, and it would be crazy because it's an odd group of people. Episode 1, 10 minutes in, Cirie and Ozzy are targeting each other, and now they're probably going to go to the merge together, never even needing to talk about targeting each other. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And they better be really nice to Troy because he's got the idol, and if they don't reel him in, they could be screwed, and that could be the reason Tavua falls apart, is because Troy plays his idol and doesn't side with them.
I hope Troy doesn't tell anyone. I'm always a huge proponent of not telling anyone that you have an idol. Obviously, Ty's situation worked out very well, but that doesn't work out every single time. I feel like if Troyzan doesn't tell the whole tribe, if he tells like one person that he has the idol, that causes some fragments. I think he either tells everybody or he tells nobody. That is what puts him in the safest position.
Exactly. Who you got at 12? Because my next 4, I think could go home. So who do you got?
Yeah. So my number 12 is Brad. I'm actually a little surprised I have him this low. It just kind of happened as I was putting other people above him. I think he's in a good spot. 12 is a very weird place to put someone who's a leader of the tribe. Hashtag coffee is for closers, helps himself out, helps his tribe win that reward challenge. But he's the face of their tribe, and he is very clear. He's not obnoxious or arrogant, but it's very clear that he is at the top of this tribe. And Haley was kind of going for him. So that could cause a little bit of strife. So it's the only reason I have him at number 12. I think he's in a good position, but because he is such an obvious threat, I think that could work against him at some point. One of my bottom 4 is going home. I don't think Brad's going home.
Yeah, I think the thing with Brad, and the reason I put him at 2, and I'm really surprised you have him so low since he is the head of that alliance, you just had Ty play an idol for him. Okay. Then you also have Sierra, who loves Brad. So you have those 3. On a 5-person alliance, no matter how big of a threat Brad is, unless they go to another one of these crazy tribal councils, If they go to a regular Mana tribal council, I think Brad has a 0% chance of going home.
But I think if there is another swap, which there could be, especially if this Nuku tribe just completely falls apart, they might pull just one more swap, do a vote, and then go into the merge. I don't think he's in a great position then.
Well, what I'm saying is, though, for this week,
yeah, for this week,
the power rankings are week by week, so I'm just kind of like, I don't see Brad at all for week 4, episode 5.
I guess my defense for having him at number 12, and I guess my defense for having my 1 through 12 as who they are, is because my bottom 4 are going home.
Yeah.
I mean,
we have the same bottom 4: Sandra, Debbie, Haley, and JT.
Right. I actually have Haley at number 15. So Haley, Haley, my number 13. Excuse me. Weirdly enough, I think she is one of the safer ones. I don't think this Debbie explosion is a red herring. I think this could be her Lucy episode where she just flips out and then they're like, okay, she's insane. She needs to go home.
See, I really think this is building towards something with Debbie. And I don't think Mana's going to go to tribal tonight. Oh my God. I don't think Mana's going to go. It's early for me. Okay.
It's so early.
I don't think that Mana is going to go to tribal council on Wednesday. And I think that this is more of like a buildup of like, look at the infighting that's going on with Debbie, and it's setting up for something. And Haley I think Haley's still the one in trouble if they actually go. So I do have Haley at 15, but I put Debbie at 14 because it would make sense for Debbie to go out that way. Blows up, goes home. Like, it totally makes sense. It's kind of what happened to her in her last season anyway. She just got too cocky, and then that was it. So I don't know. I don't think that this is necessarily a red herring, but I just don't think they're going to tribal, and I think this is the JT versus Sandra episode. So I have Sandra at 13 and JT at 16 because I don't think JT's going to find an idol, and I just don't think that he's going to be able to swing anybody, which is kind of crazy to me, but I just don't think they'll trust him enough.
I don't think they'll trust him. I go Haley, Debbie, Sandra, JT, because I think Sandra and JT's tribe goes to tribal council before Debbie and Haley's tribe goes to tribal council. This, I think JT's in a sitting duck position. There's no matter I think what Malcolm said in one of his exit interviews was JT was acting like that little kid, like the younger brother who did something wrong and only could half admit it. Because I think it's in the preview, he says, I didn't tell Brad that you guys were voting for Sierra. I think that's what he said, and that just isn't true. So he's still trying to save a little face, but at this point, I don't see him being able to fix this. He is dead last.
JT's whole plan was just tell Brad who they're voting for, hope they play an idol, still vote with his tribe, and then hopefully they vote for Sandra. He didn't want Malcolm to go. That's all he wanted. That was his plan. But like Malcolm said in one of his interviews, it was like he was definitely trying to screw us. And yeah, he was, but he was trying to get Sandra, not the rest of you. Like, he wanted to work with Malcolm.
Yeah, and Malcolm said he thinks JT figured it out. So rewatching it, when Jeff says, like, are you guys ready to vote? And JT, he's like, yes, just let's end this. So Malcolm thinks that JT knew what was happening. He knew he screwed up before the votes were even read. Mm-hmm. So that was not the best episode for JT. I see no way that he survives this.
I think I said I forget what it was. I think I said in either the boot list ranking or one of the podcasts, I said JT makes the merge 10 out of 10 times when he plays Survivor. And I wasn't taking into account something as insane as that tribal, because I still think without that tribal, JT makes the merge. I still think he makes the merge because I think if that tribal doesn't happen, they were going to get second place in that challenge. And then I think Mana goes. I think the next week Mana goes. And he doesn't even hit tribal council from that Nuku tribe. But with how crazy that just went down, you can't prepare for it. And I guess I should have said 9 out of 10 times because they always throw something crazy at you. But I really still think like JT easily always makes the merge in every other season as long as this tribal council doesn't happen.
And I think JT was more casually targeting Sandra at the beginning when he and Malcolm are in the water or walking towards the water. He's like, yeah, I think we got to get Sandra. But that's before the immunity challenge. So he's just thinking, okay, yeah, she's going to be my next person. And then when he's given this opportunity to have this crazy tribal council, he almost goes too hard too fast, and now it's just like the JT versus Sandra show. It just happened so quickly. I don't know what he could have done to prevent that. I mean, there's a lot of things he could have done to prevent that, but he definitely brought this intense anti-Sandra vibe upon himself.
He did. It'll be interesting. I feel like this is gonna be like an old school type episode with a lot of yelling, a lot of camp life, and then a boot that might a very predictable boot. I feel like that's what it's gonna feel like.
I love camp life, so I'll allow it, and I'm down to watch Debbie just scream and flip out on people, and Sandra do that as well. So we'll see.
I think Sandra's gonna be more fun to watch do that. Okay,
probably.
So that's our power rankings. I'm gonna run through all the prop bets that hit, who's in the lead there, run through our fantasy games, and then we'll do some comments. So we'll start off prop bets that hit last week. Hidden immunity idol was Ty. 5 or less votes was Malcolm. Didn't even think about that one while we were doing it. Like he only got those 5 votes. That was it. So he gets the 5 or less. Blindfold. Once again, not Phil and not Alexa, but Andrea, Ozzy, Zeke, Sarah, JT, Aubrey, Michaela, Malcolm, Debbie, Haley, Ty, Sierra. If you had one of those, you get the blindfold thing. I know, and I didn't get it, and neither did you.
So mad.
Brutal. Last vote read was Brad. Confessionals in every episode they're in was Malcolm. Episode title was Haley. And just keeping track of the sit-outs, because we said if you sit out 3 challenges for any reason, that's one of the props. So sit-out, Sandra sat out twice, Cerise sat out twice. Varner, Michaela, Aubrey, Zeke, Andrea, Sarah, Sierra, Debbie, Haley, and Troy Zen have all sat out once. So getting close to 3. Hopefully Cerise sits out this week, and I can get my points finally. Because right now in the prop bet, Will has 10, Alexa has 7, and I have 3. I am totally killing it.
You are just crushing it.
Dominating. The leaders of the prop bet, Brian Johnson with 12. It's FVN with 12. Sophie Hook with 12. Spooky Elf still up there with 11. Rob Leica, 11. Morgan Spriggs, 11. Vinny Bonta, 11. Greg Dua, 11. And then there's a lot of people with 10. So, if you're around like the 8, 9, 10, you're in it. Boot list. We still have somebody in the negatives based on their donation to us. So they have -1, which means they don't have a perfect boot list. They have 4 points in reality, but they have -1. That's Nippy Ippen. Ginger Artist does have a perfect one with 0 points.
Jay does have an idol.
I was looking at who they have going this week, and it's a little fishy. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to accuse anybody of cheating. Wouldn't do that. But just want to take a look. Getting a perfect boot list would be pretty damn impressive. Adam Klein has 0, but he donated as well, so he really has 5. But whatever, he has 0. And then Vaughn Stewart with 1. The greatly named Sex Machine 69 with 2. Wow. And then everybody else has 2 that I'm about to read off. It's Sylvia Espinoza Gutierrez, Julia Delbel, Kanor Habititis Elegans. I really just want that person to get points because I can't pronounce it. So Patrick O'Connor, Trey Alk, Johnny Talk Sports, and Juliana Craig. So that's everybody with like 2 points. There's a lot of people still in single digits, but that can change quickly. I have 15. Will and Alexa both have 23. So at least I'm winning something. Fantasy games. MVP ended up being Ty, LV, or no. Yeah, MVP was Ty, LVP was JT. So I have 68, Will has 67, Alexa has 62, and I think she has the next 4 boots. I
seriously do. My God. We were all praising my fantasy team as I was doing it, and I'm just watching this fantasy team crumble.
Yeah, you made us do the Twitter poll, and you said who has the best one, and I think you won it. I think it was like 67 to 20.
You loved my fantasy team.
Yeah, but still, I'm just saying.
I can brag about my team, but don't act like you didn't love my team either.
I did, and it looks like Will might actually have the best team. So what did we do?
Which is really, really unfortunate. That's not what anyone wants.
Nobody. And then with the winner game, just like who we think is going to win the game overall, Will had Malcolm at 4. So that was the first person to take a hit in their top 5. Alexa and I both had him, I think it's 6 and 7. So it was a little bit lower. So Will took like the first big hit there. Not that it really matters because all it matters is the winner, but just wanted to announce he was the first one to lose somebody in his top 5 because he can't defend himself. So let's do that.
Yeah, let's keep talking about how bad Will is at things.
That's my favorite part. All right, let's see here. All right, so we're going to go over to Twitter. And we have, T-Rex, last season you said Jessica couldn't win because David played an idol on her. Do you feel the same way for Sierra now?
Wait, you said Jessica couldn't win because David played the idol on her?
And I'll answer this.
Okay, you go first because you're the one who said it.
Yeah, so Will and I both said this last season where we were like, Jessica had the idol played for her. She has no chance of winning. This is a way different situation because it was like the idol was played by your entire alliance. And the only reason you were going to go home, it wasn't because the other alliance didn't like you. It was just because it was a tribe versus a tribe. So this was really an idol play to keep your tribe alive. Whereas the David one for Jessica was David saying, I need to keep her close to me because I need her. I need her as a number. And that was he was only helping himself. So everybody was probably going to look at that as a weakness for the rest of the game. In this situation, I don't think you can look at it as a weakness for Sierra because they all knew who had the idols. And Sierra had to figure out that she was getting the votes. It's pretty much like a post-merge idol play for somebody else, not a pre-merge idol play for somebody else.
I was going to, you beat me to the punch on the tribal idol rather than it just being David or Ty's idol. I think also Ty isn't going to view it that way. Ty's not going to view it as I saved Sierra's butt, or Brad's not going to view it, whoever decides to take the credit for it. I saved Sierra's butt. Now she's indebted to me. I don't see them having that mentality, and I think that helps her too. It was an overall group consensus to save her, and I think she has a lot of other moves up her sleeve, especially with this advantage that we are going to possibly see a couple episodes from now. I don't think that will hurt Sierra whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I think all this did was strengthen all of their cases to win the game. Everybody on that tribe. All right, we have T-Rex. If another alpha male goes home, will Troyzan get one world PTSD?
I said we should have brought Terry.
Oh my God, poor Troyzan. He's got to be sitting here going, "Oh my God, now we've lost Malcolm. Now we've lost, Caleb. Now we've lost Tony. What did I get myself into? Why can't I get on a season where the men can outplay the women? Why?"
Poor Troyzan. Yeah, he's got a curse coming.
Oh my God, it really feels like it. We have.
No, I think if a women's alliance does come up, I think it will be a little more manageable than the One World Women's Alliance.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think it'll happen this season because I don't think the women will all get along very well. Like, Suri obviously led one of the best women's alliances ever. But aside from her, like, Sarah doesn't really fit in with the girls all that much. Sierra definitely.
Michaela and Sandra hate each other.
Yeah, exactly. Michaela and Sandra hate each other. And not for nothing, the women who on this season are like, for lack of a better term, it's like one of the guys. Like Sierra, she probably like is like Brad's best buddy because they talk about the same things all the time. And then, Aubrey, I could see her doing a women's alliance. But, somebody like Sandra, I don't even know if Sandra would go for a women's alliance because I think Sandra would just go for just don't vote me out. I don't really care. So.
Yeah, I don't see a women's alliance happening. I saw someone commented, it might have been either on this past recap or the one beforehand, but someone said, "Oh, I see a women's alliance coming," but I don't necessarily see that happening. They need to gel a little bit.
Yeah, agreed. We have Gamer Girl. Could Malcolm being blindsided by the moment be the moment Varner was talking about when talking about his favorite Survivor moment? I think it could.
Oh, it could. Because he on that video that he took, he said I think he used the words like traumatic and like controversial. He said Varner said the word traumatic. I don't know if I would classify this as traumatic, but this was one of the craziest tribal councils we'll ever see. So maybe that is where he's coming from on that. That could be a good one, yeah.
And his face that whole time is so funny. Like even before, like when they're announcing it, and he's just like, he's got that like look. I don't know what he was doing, but he looked scary.
He looked like he saw the devil.
Yeah. We have Gamer Girl asking, do you think Sarah is this season's invisible edit? I don't, because it looks like she's going to pick up next week. So
I don't think we're getting an invisible edit. I don't see that happening. There's too many big characters, and even when you have your not as loud characters like Andrea or Sarah, I think on a returning season like this, we're not going to have any purple edits, any invisible edits.
Tiffany Myers, who do you think will find the next idol? Also, where the heck is Will?
Will is in the spy bunker.
Yeah, exactly. The spy. Let's see. But who do I think will find the next idol?
I forgot to answer the question.
I think JT is going to be the one who's looking the hardest. I don't know if he'll necessarily find it, but I would give him the best odds just because he's going to be looking, and none have been found for his tribe.
It's the one on the Nuku Beach because they're the only tribe that hasn't been introduced to an idol yet.
Yeah, but now that Mana played one, they'll probably put another one out.
Right. And give another clue that says dig 3 feet in this exact position.
Yes, exactly. We have, hang on here. We have Shaka Amervilishvili. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Very sorry. This pre-merge boots get so much screen time that the other players have nothing. I think Aubrey's going to go far this season. And that's very interesting because they don't always edit it this way, where the pre-merge gets so much. But I think because they're losing so many big characters pre-merge, they are trying to give a lot of screen time to the pre-merge people. And then once post-merge hits, it's almost going to be like a different show.
Yeah, I think it will be too. I think the post-merge should be pretty nuts because I feel like we've had a pretty enjoyable pre-merge so far, even though we have lost, Tony and Malcolm. We've lost some pretty big names. I think the post-merge is only going to get crazier. Mm-hmm. Especially because we're going to be factoring in this third tribe that hasn't really existed up until now. We're getting almost a whole new batch of characters because we haven't even seen them yet.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very, very weird with the editing here. Giovanni Oriana, how much credit does Michaela deserve for JT going out if he's next? I don't really think. I don't
think any more or less. It depends on how the vote goes, but I don't think any more or less than anyone else.
Yeah. Because I really think it's just JT getting stuck on that tribe and then not doing much to help himself and has a lot of bad luck for JT here.
Yeah, it's bad luck that's a little self-inflicted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is a two-way street.
Yeah. We have, sorry, I'm looking at comments too. I'm listening to you, but I'm looking at the comments. Us saying that Will's in the spy bunker just totally ruined
oh God, what do they say?
Everybody's just screaming about Will now. But anyway, we have Giovanni. Is it fair to compare Debbie not to Coach but to Philip? Coach was never this loud, unlike Philip, who made his seasons worse.
Oh God,
Coach
as a huge Debbie fan and a very anti-Philip player, that is a tough one.
I just think Philip was loud and definitely got on the show because of his personality. I think Debbie's the exact same way. I think Coach, obviously, that's what happened, but Coach was also, he was quieter. He was very vocal in Token Chains. That was, grade A Coach, just being so over the top. But he was never going on those tirades. It looks like what Philip did to Steve in Redemption Island, what Debbie did. It looks like she's going to do here. Coach never did that. And when he had his one real moment of weakness, it was heroes versus villains. And he was crying, but he did it on the side. And Tyson, he pulled Tyson aside. So he was never so in your face with aggression. He would tell stories and he would be ridiculous, but
yeah, he's not a yeller. He's not much except for when, what was it, in Heroes versus Villains, in one of those challenges, he knocked someone down and then screamed and he was like, I won. And Jeff was like, you actually didn't win that. So that's about it. But that was an in a moment thing. Philip and Debbie both. Yeah, they're both more aggressive, like you said. I'm trying to put to words why I like Debbie and why I don't like Philip. This is a big mental block for me. I think Debbie, I just find Debbie to be funnier. I find no value in Philip. I don't think he's funny. I think he's annoying. I think he's a bully. And Debbie, I feel like is a character. Phil, I can never watch a season with Philip on it.
See, I disagree. I think what happened, and one of my big things with this is I actually felt bad for Philip by the end of Redemption Island and during the Fans vs. Favorites too. I actually felt bad for Philip. I feel like he's not a bad guy. I feel like he knows he's on a TV show. I feel like he knows how to get screen time. I feel like he knows he's got a really bad, not a very good chance to win the game. And he came in with a good plan in Fans vs. Favorites too. And the Brandon versus Philip thing, I don't think that's because Philip's a bad guy. I really don't.
that was a lot.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think Philip's bad. So I do think Debbie and Philip are on the same level where they're not bad people. They just know that they're on a TV show. I don't think Philip's a bad person. I want to make that very clear. Just from an entertainment standpoint, I'd rather watch Debbie because I think she's funny. Well, he bullied people. That's a tough word to use on these podcasts. Bully.
Okay, let's Before you start throwing things at me, let's talk about something else, because I know now the comments are going to tell me that I'm a terrible person because you're putting words in my mouth.
Hey, you said bully. Julia Sokolowski called somebody a bully on our podcast, or said bullying went both ways or something, and that got some reaction. So careful, Alexa.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, your mom. Do you think they would not do this kind of tribal council again because Malcolm got voted off? Honestly, yes.
They're putting that one back on the shelf for a little bit.
Yeah, until they don't care so much about the players, because I don't think they wanted this to happen at all.
Yeah. Malcolm was. I mean, when they were drafting that up, they did not envision Malcolm going home there.
Yeah. Jason Dodson, how much damage do you think Suri will do if and when she makes the merge? And I think Suri is very dangerous because
lots of damage.
She is very, yes. Take this, Alexa. Take it. That's your
girl.
She's
so dangerous. This is the post-merge is when Suri plays the game. Pre-merge, Panama Suri, she was just like hanging on by a thread, and then she takes over. She does the 3-2-1 vote out. Takes over in Micronesia. This is when Suri comes alive, and the fact that she might even make it to the merge is so insane because I love her so much, and I never thought she was going to make it. But she's in such a good position if she makes it to the merge.
Yeah, I completely agree. Tiago Bochat, do you think that there is a chance that the Green Tribe can go to Tribal Council? Love the podcast all the way from Argentina.
We are so international.
Well, look at us. I think they can, obviously. I just think I'd give it about a 10% chance. You know, this is not a 1/3 chance of going to Tribal or whatever. I mean, when you have these two tribes, all you have to do is, win one or get second place. I just don't see the Green Tribe ever not getting second place.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even who would you consider to be the weakest player on that tribe? Maybe Sarabi sticks Suri on the puzzles. And Andrea, we saw she came through in the clutch on her pulling days. So they're all carrying their weight.
And really, Troyzan was the worst, but it was a throwing thing, and they'll just never have him throw again. Zeke will do it or something.
Yeah, exactly. They're in a great spot.
Yeah. We got Vaughn Stewart. Which member of Old Mana is best positioned to dodge a potential pagonging and make it deep?
Old Mana.
Old Mana. So that's the original Red Tribe. So we have Haley. We have, what is it? It's Haley, Sandra, Varner,
Michaela, Aubrey,
Troyzan. Troyzan and Aubrey. I think Troyzan, because he's got the idol. So I think that's what puts him in the better position. And even though he might not necessarily fit in with his tribe, I think that if he can hit a merge and get together with some of these, I don't know, who could he team up with? He could team up with maybe a Brad.
Well, he's kind of assuming. Yeah, I mean, this assumes that Sandra survives.
No, Sierra, not Sandra.
Oh, no, I was saying Sandra. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Assuming Sandra survives anything, they had a decent thing going. Yeah, he and Brad could maybe make a dudes alliance because I feel like that's what Troyzan would gravitate to, considering his history with women's alliances. I think he and Ozzy could get along. I think they're just going down different paths right now. I could see them getting along. I don't see him working with Varner or Ty, anyone like that.
Yeah, I think Troyzan could work with Ty just because I think that Brad and Sierra is who he would gravitate towards. I could see Michaela even working with Troyzan. I know we didn't get to see much of their interaction on their tribe, but somebody like Michaela could also do it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel good about
I feel like Troyzan is pretty likable. So I think if he does make it out of this tribe, he will be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's the best. I think that's my answer. I would be surprised. Haley maybe, because Haley's going to be so wishy-washy, but she's got to survive these boots, and so that I can't say she's best positioned. But if she can hit the merge, then I could see that.
Yeah.
Your mom, you think this year's jury is going to pick the best player, or be butthurt and pick the person that didn't piss them off?
Probably the person who didn't piss them off originally.
Which is also normally the best player, because you just have to.
That's how you win, by not being mean.
Yeah. All right, let's jump over to YouTube, where we have so much fun. AT&T, please tell me something good about JT and his chance, because I'm terrified. He's my favorite player, and I really want him to win.
He's found an idol before, so maybe he'll find one again.
Exactly.
How about that?
That's
How about
all I
that? I got something. Sorry, there's an ambulance like really having a field day outside.
I hear it. It's going crazy, but that's okay. We had an intruder in your house. Now you got the ambulance. You're doing great.
Oh, you knew about the intruder. Oh no, wait, that was my roommate.
Well, everybody was calling
or was it?
Yeah. Selly11395. Did anyone else think that Culpepper vote for Malcolm B spelling was hilarious? He was doing that on purpose. I'm not sure why. Mr. Brightside thinks it's a reference to Malcolm's locks, but
that was hilarious.
I think
like referring to his hair.
Yeah, that's funny. So Wences Acosta, fun math fact. I count this as a fact, but notice Malcolm and Sierra has doubled their elimination numbers on each try. Sarah was 5th on Blood versus Water, 10th on Cambodia, 20th here. Meanwhile, Malcolm, while not entirely the same, got 4th on Philippines, 9th on Karamoan, and then 17th here. That's not doubling, but
that's just significantly worse.
That's just really bad.
Almost doubling.
Yeah, almost.
Wow, that is a fun math. That is a fun math fact.
Jeff Steinberg, no, 18 exclamation points. Malcolm is my favorite of all time. I was near tears when he got voted out. Probably about 30 exclamation points.
I was about to ask, did you actually count him in exclamation? I saw there were a lot, but I didn't count them.
No, I didn't count them. Jesse Pierre, I'm happy you're wrong about JT going home tonight. Doesn't look like that's going to happen this time. Kelly M. So this is all still just talking about the recap, but we like this stuff. So Kelly M. That was brutal. One of Jeff's Golden Boys went out on that twist, so we will never see it again. This is all stars all over again. I'm already bracing for this to have a horrible winner and be a bottom tier season. I really hope I'm wrong.
Everyone is saying that this is turning into All Stars, and I really do think that the only similarity it has to All Stars is that we're losing our real All Stars. But I'm gonna keep saying this. The difference is I think the people who do make it far are a little more interesting, a little more strategic, a little more enjoyable to watch.
Wow. Then Malcolm or Tony?
Oh no, than the All-Stars post-merge.
Okay.
No. I want everyone to make sure that they didn't misinterpret that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense because I agree. I think whoever you're stuck with at the end here is going to be more interesting than like Alicia, Sheehan,
Yeah.
Jenna Lewis. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
and plus you got to look at it this way. Yeah, we might lose all the winners with JT going, and then who knows if that tribe loses again, how do they keep Sandra? But you still have JT, Sandra, Ozzy, Sari, all still left in the game. Aubrey. These are like top tier players. I mean, JT is making a case for being bottom tier, but whatever. These are like top tier players. You're not going to lose them all before the merge, and that's kind of what happened in what do you call it? In All-Stars. You lost every like really, really good player before the merge, and then you were left with like Lex and Kathy, who were great. Boston Rob, who obviously proved himself, but everybody else there was kind of just like, they kind of got asked back, not because they were that good at the game, just because like they only had 7 seasons to pull from.
And I think we're now in a position. I just finished rewatching Heroes versus Villains, and there are winners on Heroes versus Villains, and they are not targeted the way that they were targeted in All Stars and the way that they're being targeted now. I feel like now winners are in such a unique position where they wouldn't be able to do particularly well unless they're on a Legends or a Winners season.
Yeah, exactly. They need to all play together.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Second Chance was really good, is because like those were all like really, really good players. And Heroes vs. Villains was all like really, really good players. And like that's why Sandra gets to the end, Parvati gets to the end, and Russell gets to the end, and Colby's still sitting there at Final 5. Jerry's there, Rupert's there, because they're all really good. So yeah, you're gonna lose your Toms and your Cerise, but you're always gonna have good players left. And I think that's why they did well. I think you hit that on the head.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see here. Alexa Pappas, I need to get better internet.
That's me. I think I'm doing pretty well on this.
You're killing it today.
Yeah, this is incredible.
All right, this is a long one. These next two are long, but let's rage. Nick P. I would have swore that it was Sandra going home because you think that was the obvious choice, and the edit was pointing to a Sandra downfall. Seeing Malcolm go home was so out of left field. It doesn't seem like it was supposed to happen. Malcolm is a great player, not someone who should ever go out pre-merge based on the type of player he is. He's good at challenges, socially capable, and is not overly strong. Yeah, I agree. He got screwed, but it is what it is, and I can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. It just sucks that we lost such an entertaining player. At this point, it looks like we will see Sandra getting to the merge, which is just incredible if you think about it. Also, did Brad screw over JT, or was it a misunderstanding? Because if so, then Brad was pretty stupid about that, since JT could be a valuable ally for him if they both made the merge. Brad should have went for Sandra. I feel like he made the wrong move today. Did you see Sandra's, oh shit, I might be going home face? That was scary.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to digest. That is a great comment. I do think Brad screwed JT.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think he purposely did, but I think he did.
But JT told him, and he what is he supposed to do with that information? Ignore it?
Well, I think the problem is when you're saying we're voting Sierra, vote for Sandra, they might be thinking you could be trying to play an idol for Sandra, and like you could be lying to me, or like, you know, whatever. Like it's so far, because it's been what, 5 days since they actually run a tribe together. So it's hard to completely trust somebody when you've spent pretty much the same amount of time with them as they've spent with their new people.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Simply Nessa. JT was working with Mana in order to get Sandra out because he told Brad his tribe was voting for Sierra, which they did. This allowed Mana to know they should give the idol to Sierra. The reason JT was so upset towards the end because he wanted Sandra out, not Malcolm. Reason this twist failed is because there wasn't enough information to give either tribe in order to make this vote, which resulted in someone going home that wasn't really an immediate threat in the game. Malcolm is good at challenges, and when given the right time, can be a strategic threat, but there are more dangerous threats on Nuku to winning this game, which I kind of disagree with. I think that he was the biggest threat on that tribe to win the game.
To win the game, yeah. And I think that's why he was such a big threat. No one was targeting him, and he's such a triple threat player. He could absolutely have won, and I didn't think he was going to win. I would have really liked for him to win. But he was in such a good position because he was such a threat and no one was targeting him. People were actively trying to work with him. He was in a really great spot. It is unfortunate that he's not going to be on her TV next week.
It's really crazy to me as I'm like looking through some of these comments, how conflicted people are with this. And I feel like this season is going to go down as a Gabon, as a San Juan del Sur, or something like that, where you're going to have the people who love it and the people who can't stand it. I don't feel like there's going to be a middle ground on this season.
No.
So the next one we have Middle Earth Lamb, crazy tribal. Whole body went numb and felt sick when the first vote for Malcolm was read. I totally didn't see it coming, although on rewatch they're increasing screenshots of Malcolm while Sierra's vote was read. I was actually hoping to see Sandra's name. The look on her face, I see fear for a second there. Priceless. Do you think if no idol was found or played, could it have been a different tribal? Who would receive the votes? How are you guys coping with the #WoW episode thus far?
Sierra probably would have gone home.
Yeah, because that's who they were going to vote for no matter what, because of the fear.
And yeah, even if JT, even though, let's say JT tells Brad again, let's say we go through the exact same process, the difference is there's nothing they can do because it's a 6-5 vote.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just Sarah, except no idol gets played.
Yeah. How are you coping with it, Phil?
I'm fine. I'm not Malcolm.
I'm alive.
And plus, Malcolm's exit interviews were hilarious. So I still got great
interviews are so funny.
You read everybody read the Gordon Holmes one, because we got the greatest word association of all time, and it's very important. I'm not going to say it on this podcast, but if you wanted to know what kind of person Troyzan is, Malcolm gave you the perfect answer in his word association.
Yeah, you get a nice foreshadowing to that with the idol and where he placed it.
Exactly.
And we're moving on.
Brian, this season is fast becoming a dud. We're seriously going to be stuck with the 10 people no one wanted at the end. It's funny, but I don't think we are, because we still have like I said, we still have those 5 and maybe even more.
Yeah. And I wasn't huge on Sierra and Haley, and I'm finally seeing, 2 players that I'm really enjoying watching. So I'm happy to be proven wrong.
I still love Haley. Leo and YouTube. First, I was so convinced it was Sandra. Secondly, I'm close to devastated with Malcolm going. Last but not least, this episode was only 40 minutes. WTF. Show could last a whole hour. After Australian Survivor, I thought they'd make them longer, but they're doing them shorter. Ty finds an idol in like 2 seconds. The show has come down to basically 2 challenges of Tribal Council. We don't get to see anything else. No socializing, no surviving, nothing. And also, when are we going to get to enjoy fan favorite Sari when she's voted out? Which I hope is never. Damn editing, damn commercials, money. I want Survivor to be longer, at least not shorter.
So there's another. I have like many things to say about this. There's another comment that references how short this episode was. That was like, "How can this be a recap when the recap is twice the length of the episode?" Our recap was what, close to 2 hours, and that episode is 40 minutes. So they should have just put us on TV instead.
honestly, I mean, and we don't even need the ad space. I mean, God, but I just
we don't even ask for the money. But yeah, it's too. No, you go ahead.
All I was going to say is to answer that last question. Our recaps are longer because we read so many comments. We really only recap the episode for like 30 minutes. I mean,
and we're saying this as we read a comment. We're really digging a hole here. But yeah, there at one point, I think it might have been after the reward challenge, we get two conversations. We get reward challenge commercial, two conversations commercial. There might have been 7 minutes, not even, in between those commercial breaks, and that was not ideal because I just want to watch. I want to watch more Survivor. I don't need commercials.
Yeah. It was the Aussie one when they showed him like catching the fish. That was like 4 minutes. That was like 3 or 4 minutes long. That was it, and there was commercial. Yeah. But I think this week you're gonna get a lot more explosions. We'll see. Haley Vick 17. It's not that Haley sounds dissy. It's just her vocal style is displayed in a very slow, nonchalant, lazy, no-collar manner. She's originally from Tennessee, represent. So that might explain some of it. Generally, people from the South tend to have slower-paced speaking voices. Also, she doesn't have particularly extensive vocabulary. So though she is highly intelligent, her limited vocabulary hinders her. Perhaps she might be playing it up a little, but I'm rooting for her. Hope she gets further in the game.
Wow, that was an in-depth analysis.
Of Haley speaking.
No collar. Good reference to no collar there. Yeah, no, I think she's pretty fun. I know you've always loved Haley, but she's grown on me fast. I'm loving her. She's great. I hope she's on my screen for a while.
Yeah, love Haley. Great. That would be a great redemption arc too. That's why I like it so much. Let's see here. So we have Scott Horn. Malcolm did get screwed, but it's not true. He couldn't have done anything differently. If they had listened to Haley and voted Brad, he would still be there. Why did they not change the vote after JT hauled ass over to Brad and whispered in his ear? What the hell did they think he was saying? Agree that the twist was stupid and should never come back. Oh, and that idol was planted. Let's be real.
Hauled ass.
Yeah, exactly.
That idol was. I think I complained about this on the recap, but that idol placement was frustrating.
Yeah. Let's see. We have Joe Lowe. I think this is our last really long one. This season is really just ruined for me now. I understand that Tony was a massive threat, but I want to see at least a little more of it. Now Malcolm gets screwed, and I can already see that people like Haley and Sierra are going to just float along with Brad Culpepper, who, for matter of fact, never even deserved to be on this season. Now all I can do is hope people like JT and Troy Zan make some big moves. Otherwise, just an extended wait between season 33 and 35. I was so excited. It's just a major disappointment. Hey, I don't necessarily think this is disappointing. I think it can go a disappointing route. And I understand why people are disappointed.
I'm not disappointed yet. I could be, but I'm not there yet. I'm sad Malcolm's gone. I didn't want him to go, but there's still hope.
I'm okay with these people that Haley, Sierra, Brad, I'm okay with them going really far as long as they earn it. And I feel like the All-Stars comparison, the All-Stars didn't really earn it. It just kind of was like latch on and go. If Haley hits it deep in the merge, she's going to earn that spot.
Yeah, exactly. And Haley's been playing a really good game so far. She's not on Brad Culpepper's coattails at all. She wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Sonic Speed 59, getting rid of Malcolm wasn't really a bad move. They got rid of Sandra. That would have been the best tribal of all time, in my opinion. Also, people complain when Malcolm gets screwed by a twist. Nobody complains about Savage getting screwed in Pearl Islands, and I love Savage in that season.
Savage got screwed. A lot of people have been screwed, and Aaron got screwed. Michelle Yee got screwed. Yeah. Savage got screwed. A lot of people have been screwed.
Yeah, so there's no argument there. And honestly, I would have just had a bad taste in my mouth no matter who goes home that tribal because it just feels weird. Let's see here. We have Ben Kazumi. Shit, they voted out the most attractive person in the season.
I'm going to decline to comment.
Yeah, right. Jen Van Es. I'm so upset. So many faves gone already. My not favorite's still in. I want Sandra out before it's over. I don't want her to win a third time. While it would be quite an achievement for her, even though I enjoyed her, I just want a new winner to win. Love it. Anthony Cusada, honestly, when I saw Haley talking to them and telling them to vote Brad, I was under the impression she was trying to split the votes on the other team. I think that would have been too much.
Splitting of votes wouldn't have helped.
Yeah, that would have been a lot going on.
Yeah.
see. Jake Trinex. Sierra, honestly, was the only one who made this move happen. She got Malcolm out.
Okay. I think Brad and Ty.
I disagree. Brad.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Brad and
it.
Ty were pretty involved in that, but okay.
I think the three of them as a whole really worked together. Teamwork, dreamwork.
Then JT lobbed that ball over to them, and they slammed dunked it.
Yeah. Breaking Lost Thrones. My surviving sense is tingling. The dreaded Women's Alliance is near. P.S. I don't think I can take another season with Sierra's fake or freaking eyebrows. I thought it said fake. Jesus.
Man, that's something like I'm not going to be able to unsee.
Oh my God. I don't think like we already said we don't think there's going to be a Women's Alliance. Let's see here. We got
dreaded Women's Alliance. Come on.
Yeah, dreaded. Like what season? I mean, One World was the only season that didn't work with a Women's Alliance. Every other season that there's been a Women's Alliance has been pretty damn good.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking at you, Mike Vanuatu.
Looking at you.
Wences Acosta, another fun editing fact. And I want to say this before anyone else. The first two episodes were Malcolm and Caleb saying that when Tony left, they would be targeted because of the meat shield theory. And wouldn't you know, it would be episode 2 Tony, episode 3 Caleb, episode 4 Malcolm.
Yeah, they were kind of the stars of those first episodes, and they're out back to back to back.
That was right. Let's see here. Flame Badger, wow. When Sierra had her votes being read out, I thought it was over for Sandra. Wow. Wow at Alexa's internet. Wow. That's all from Flame Badger.
Wow.
Jamie Sleeper, coffee is for closer from Glengarry Glen Ross. It was said by Alec Baldwin. That's why it's funny in Boss Baby. Still kind of a stretch for Survivor Use It. I don't really understand that. I still don't get it. We don't have to dwell on it, but I still don't get it.
I'll allow it.
GR82 Day. As a fan, I love Sandra and would love to see her go to the end again. But if I was playing, I would have sent her home first. Her third time playing, each time she's has played a different game. She can get to the merge. She will have a stretch in there where people gone for physical threats first. She's playing great. She's just Sandra doing her thing.
She's playing the Sandra game, as long as it's not me. And it's working. I will say it every time until she goes home.
Yeah. Christopher Herrera, RIP Alexa's internet connection, forever in our hearts.
May it rest in peace.
Damian Glenn, didn't Haley ultimately end up voting with New Mana? Yeah, she did. Her and JT both voted with their alliance.
Everyone voted along their tribal alliance.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because Haley didn't consent.
Well, just a lot of craziness for everybody to just vote. Because it would be dumb to vote out somebody on your tribe. Unless you're definitely like then you can swing the numbers. Otherwise, it's just dumb to vote out somebody in your tribe because now you've weakened yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jithan Prakash, I think JT is going home soon, and chances of Sandra reaching the merge are so high.
I don't know. Sandra's got the merge isn't. If the merge is at 13, we still have plenty of tribal councils for Sandra to attend.
Yeah, and losing Malcolm's going to hurt her. We have Joel 10. When Jeff told Malcolm the tribe has spoken, Malcolm should have said, well, technically my tribe did not vote for me.
That reminded me of when Jessica went home last season and Jeff said the game has spoken. You said it perfectly. Malcolm did not get voted out by his tribe. So his tribe did not speak.
Yeah. Didn't say a word. Let's see here. We have LK Bradshaw. I think Debbie will be the next boot. Her days are numbered. Haley may be able to work her way back in since Debbie goes bananas next week. Brad may want to get rid of her ASAP.
I know that would make you so happy, Phil.
Yeah, I've said you hate like your max of Debbie. She's good TV for a little bit. Let's get the blow up and then let's move on.
Let's get the explosion and then we're ending it.
And then that's it. We have Gamer Girl, Alexa, I too am a huge Malcolm fan. We can cry together. I think there's an alternate universe where Malcolm's still in the game. Also, WoW, #WoW was also used at Scott's Tribal Council in Korok. So that's the one it was.
Okay. I knew it had been used before, but at first I was like, oh, that's kind of forced, just like Kavi's for closers, but now it's pretty funny.
Yeah. We have Chioma Demiri. You guys should get Vaughn back on the podcast. He was great. Love Vaughn, and I think this was all in reaction to your internet, Alexa. But you fixed
it. Yeah, maybe Vaughn has good insight and good internet.
Yeah, two things that we really like. And he's still in the Eliminator game. My God,
what a guy!
All things point Vaughn. We have gamer girl Alexa's internet is also upset that Malcolm's gone. That's why it's being terrible. I think Ozzy should have done the second part of the reward challenge instead of Troyzan. And I said, what are they thinking when Varner did the table maze?
Well, the Varner doing the table maze, I think we decided that was kind of just he defaulted to him because the people who had completed it couldn't do it a second time.
Exactly. And Michaela had struggled. And actually, when I rewatched it, you see Michaela in the background with her hands up, trying to like do it as somebody's, I forget who's doing it, but she's trying to do it as they're doing it to like kind of get a feel for it, which was kind of funny to watch.
Anything that Michaela does is funny to watch.
I just want to point out too, Sandra set out both challenges again. She set out so much in Heroes versus Villains. It is so amazing that she just survives.
That's literally she outlasts.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Okay. So we have Vasky Lark. People need to stop acting like Malcolm going home is the worst thing ever. The guy reminds me of a Eddie Haskell type. I didn't really want him out, but he didn't gain any favor when he buddied up with JT, who I really don't like. Varner shouldn't even be there on the show at all. JT is a really bad Survivor player, so it's Malcolm's fault for aligning with JT, who has a history of messing up big moves.
History. It happened one time.
JT
it was
is
like,
a shield.
Yeah. How do you feel about Varner not belonging on the show, Phil?
Honestly, he might not, but I love him. I love him, but I mean, you know, he still hasn't hit a jury. But I love Varner, so I'm totally fine with it. But I just think with that, Malcolm's trying to use JT as a shield again. You need your shields. Varner's using Sandra as a shield. Malcolm is probably saying, I can take JT into the merge. People will get rid of JT before me.
Yeah, and I don't think teaming up with JT, I mean, in hindsight, it's not a great idea, but I think at the moment it wasn't a bad idea. I picked JT first. I feel like we were all pretty high on JT going into this because I think we assumed that he would recover from his Heroes versus Villains blunder, but it turns out that he kind of couldn't.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. We also have Gamer Girl who says, Alexa, stop interrupting Phil.
I read that. I know. I do feel bad.
That was a disaster because of the internet issue, and we couldn't tell when one of us was done speaking. So far tonight, I don't think we've really interrupted each other.
But we also have horrible chemistry.
Maybe. Yes, exactly. Let's see here. We have Derpy Derp Char. Never liked Malcolm.
So that's it. Just never liked Malcolm.
That's it. Derek Williamson. Outside of Caleb, it's been a really brutal stretch of boots for fans. Even Caleb had the Big Brother appeal. Kind of agree with that. So let's see here. We have Neo Kuro. Why didn't they vote out Sandra? How many times are they going to be stupid? Now Sandra will reach the merge and JT out just to fill her mouth saying that she was the last winner standing, even if she doesn't win.
You could ask like 45 other Survivor players why they haven't voted Sandra out. Can any of them give you a good answer?
I know. And I really do think the answer this time is if you vote out Sandra, you're not weakening the other tribe. So while it's in the tribe stage, vote out the,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brad voted Malcolm. He said, you're the best player here. Makes sense.
Exactly. Let's see here. We have Yohai Jirafi. The main reason this was a sad episode is that production team gave up on what we know as Survivor. People building relationships, playing accordingly for a great TV moment. You can love this tribal. I don't, but you can't deny it's completely manufactured by production. Cambodia was production heavy this season, going on the same path. And he says,
that's what we were saying.
Millennials versus Gen X. He says Millennials versus Gen X was a relationship and storyline season, which made it feel great. I really hope they were going back to these types of seasons, but they threw it out the window.
Yeah, well, Will ranked Millennials versus Gen X as his #1 season of all time, so let that be
strategy. Said. And can't stand with camp life. But I think that's true, though, and I think that's kind of why it left a weird taste in my mouth, is this didn't feel like a Survivor moment. It felt like a short-lived, My friend compared it. He said you sleep with a prostitute to ruin your marriage. That's how he described it.
Okay, that's one way to.
It's a very short-lived thing. It's a very short-lived thing that could possibly ruin everything. That's kind of what he was saying.
We can't talk about Troyzan, but we can talk about prostitutes and marriage. I think we should.
You want to talk about Troyzan, Alexa? Do you want to have we should do our own podcast based around Malcolm's comments on Troyzan?
We could honestly talk about that for like an hour.
That was so funny. I said that to like everybody. Let's see. Cindy Singleton. Haley, maybe everyone has problems with her because she acts stupid and she's not, which makes her appear fake. Can't stand that.
Does
Go
she
JT
act
and Troy's.
stupid?
I don't think she does. I'm telling you, it's just
she
her.
acts stupid. I think she's just quirky and it's
her,
funny.
It's her accent. That's all it is. That's all it is. The lifeboat is full. Ty is the worst to ever play. He is putty in production's hands.
Worst to ever play. That is a label.
That's bull. But he is putty in production's hands.
Oh yeah.
Them great moments. I don't know. He is. I don't think he's the worst to ever play. Cha-Cha Survivor, the twist would have been so much better had all of them been allowed to go back to the same beach. Totally agree. Jeff Steinberg says, I love Malcolm, but how is he a better player than Sandra? Because when Brad, had his quote. I
mean, I get where he's coming from in terms of like the direct version of better player. I guess it depends what you consider to be a good player.
Well, and I think it's just more that he doesn't think that Sandra's going to win this season, but totally could see him,
And also, like you mentioned, getting rid of Sandra doesn't weaken their tribe. It honestly probably makes their tribe stronger.
Exactly. We have Cheddar Slammer. Is the reason this season is known as Game Changers is not only because the players are game changers, because they're changing game rules, like what happened in this episode.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Jeff said, because maybe this is going with the theme, but Jeff said that there were going to be a lot of not rule changes, but there were going to be a lot of changes this season, a lot of twists, and we're getting them. Whether or not we like them, they're coming.
Yeah. Farron 3000, Sandra, Sari, Zeke, Michaela are my favorite. I'd love to see them win, but Sari would be my number one favorite to win.
Oh, heck yeah.
And then Berchacha Survivor asks, has JT officially joined the dark side? Do you feel like JT went to the dark side here?
I don't think so. I think JT has just more sealed his fate as, I don't even know what. Like he was such a good winner, and now he is just a shadow of his former self.
I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't say dark side. He might not be playing the best, but I don't think he's a villain. I think he just plays really hard and he moves.
Yeah, no, he's not a villain. I don't think he was intending to do anything like malicious. He wanted to get rid of Sandra, which is perfectly fine, but he was sobbing when he figured out that was going. I mean, that poor guy, he just screwed up. I don't think he's a bad guy.
Harry Holmes Wilson, just an idea for an idol, hiding it in the lid of the urn they put votes in. A clue is hidden at camp, which doesn't directly tell you it's there. They have to figure that out. Would be great if a player that's in trouble won't find out until tribal if they can get their hands on the idol. That'd be intense.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be really, really intense. I don't know what we'll see, but I could see it. Pat Star Deluxe, love this recap, but you got the JT telling everyone to vote for Sandra wrong. He clearly tells the tribe the vote is voting to Sierra, but he tells Brad to vote for Sandra. He says they're voting for Sierra, but then tells him to vote for Sandra.
Yeah, so, we saw how that worked out.
Yeah. Corey Morabito says, about the idol thing, Troyzan found his clue prior to a challenge. Ty found the idol after a challenge. So I'm guessing the crew replaces idols with the version that fits the situation while players are at challenges. My only problem is, so are they putting different clues down every time they go to a challenge too? Do they go in and put a different clue in the spot where it was originally hidden? Because that said it's going to be at your beach, and the other one said it's going to be at the challenge. So
yeah, the timing of the clue dropping is pretty interesting. I mean, obviously they had to put the Troyzan clue before the challenge, but I think I asked this after when we did the recap. What if, was it this challenge only? Was it a one-time thing? Because with Ty's idol, that was hanging out on his beach. He could probably find that at any point.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I don't know. I don't know, because the clues are very specific to where they are now. So I don't know if they. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know. We'll see how the next one plays out, because there will be more idols found. So we'll have to see how that one plays out.
I'm now very excited about this tribal council idol, assuming it happens.
It's going to, I think. I think we'll see it.
You're getting a
Mr.
little
Brightside, I can't decide if I like Sandra player. She thinks she's untouchable. This could have been the perfect tribal council for her to go.
I think they're building Sandra up for a heavy downfall. With how cocky she's getting, with how loud she's being, she's got a big downfall coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If she wins this with this amount of cockiness, that is insane.
Yeah. You're a little staticky, by the way.
Am I?
Don't do anything crazy. You're better.
Well, if I am, just let me know.
Oh, I will.
Am I a robot?
No, you're good. No, you're good to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I saw in the comments too. It sounded Phil was a robot. Hopefully that's better. Dave CZ says this tribal council was like after the merge tribal council. If you don't like this, then you don't like that. I disagree 100% because the merge is when you play individually. This is a tribe voting out the best member of another tribe.
And also the merge, like, we know how the merge works. It's happened every season.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that I don't like this because I don't know how it works. I just don't like it because it's one tribe voting out the best player from another, and then they go back to being tribes that are separate, and now you can just roll over that other tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Different. Let's see here. We have Nutsy Flush. One big flaw with Haley's gameplay. Why did she go to Debbie and target Ty? She should have tried to cement a co-wrong alliance and with her fourth vote, target Brad or Sierra.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I am surprised that she went to Debbie, and we did get that, Haley's like, yeah, me and Debbie are cool, and then Debbie goes, me and Haley are not cool. We get that little moment, but I think Haley was just looking for any kind of crack in the alliance.
Exactly. Let's see. We have Owen Azell asking, does Michaela have a chance to win and how?
I would say staticky.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
You have the comments up? Do you want to read some?
I actually don't, but I can pull them up. What was it? Will Michaela win and how? Hi. I can't hear you. So the question was, yeah, you're silent. So I'll answer the question while Phil's trying to figure this out. I know this happened last time. So will Michaela win and how? I put Michaela as one of my options for winning. I think, I think she's in a decent place. Obviously, I wasn't feeling too good about her at the start of episode 1. She, she definitely did have a rough start with the whole Sierra situation, but I think she has corrected it. I think her relationship with Sandra, hello.
Hi, we're going to get through an episode one day.
I don't know if that'll ever happen. You sound great, though.
Yeah, I know. It's the stupid thing. You just have to X out and then come back in, so it doesn't sound bad. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it sucks. Can Michaela win? Oh, I was saying, she had a rough start, but I think she is on a bit of a redemption arc. I think maybe Sandra going could be good for her because then she can actually have her own game, her own personality. I think she has a long way to go to win, but I think there are people who are in much worse positions than her.
Exactly. Everybody's kind of got an uphill battle right now. I would just say right now, I think Brad is the favorite. I could see like a Brad, Haley, Sierra final 3 right now. Not Haley. Sorry. I could see Brad and Sierra definitely hitting a final 3. I don't know who the other would be with them.
Yeah. Well, your boy Troyzan, you love him.
I love him. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how well he's fitting in with anyone at this point. And then let's see. We have can Original Mana recover from being down 4 from Original Nuku? Also, why have all the votes so far this season been for someone on Original Mana?
Well, Original Mana is whether or not they're actually planning this, but when we were looking at these tribes, we were like, Mana is stacked. They've got everyone. So I guess that's just the natural progression of things to get, Tony was going early, no matter what, unfortunately. But, the Caleb thing, the Malcolm thing, yeah, they're physical threats, but they also, they weren't in, or Malcolm, there was nothing he could do to save himself. But Caleb wasn't in a great position. I think, I can't tell if it's subconscious or not, but the Mana tribe just has so many physical threats, which is funny that they lost their first 2 immunities. But yeah, I think it's just because of that. Those just have that's the tribe with the threats on it.
Yeah, and then obviously the first 2 boots, they're going to be the targets because they, lost. And then I think after that, it's just because who actually had the numbers over them on the new Mana tribe. And then the last vote, I mean, because Malcolm's the biggest threat.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not looking good for them. They're at quite the disadvantage.
They definitely can. Somebody can turn it around, but I just, it's not looking good so far. Let's see here. Sorry, I know we've been going on for a while, so I'm trying to look and see some of these here.
We had a lot of comments on that.
I know it was a crazy episode. I mean, that's like one of our highest viewed of the of like in season podcasts.
Yeah.
We have, and it was, it's just crazy. So of course we have a lot of comments, but I don't even know. I haven't even refreshed the page. We might have even more. We have Selly11395. What would you have thought about having the Tavua tribe win reward and immunity by sitting in at the two tribes' chaotic tribal council? That would have just been too much power. I wouldn't have liked that.
I would have maybe if they were separate. If they were two separate tribal councils, I would have liked it because I have said that I really do enjoy that. I love when they sit in and watch, but I think the fact that they don't know what happened, that Tavua doesn't know what happened, will make next episode that much more fun.
Exactly. When they see when they see Malcolm's not there, they're going to be like, "What the hell happened?" Let's see here. Sorry. So we have Giovanni Oriana. I wish Redemption Island was in play.
Wow.
I disagree.
What a statement.
I disagree. Never.
Oh man, the things we'll do to have Malcolm back.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, I get it because like these big players, but once you're voted out, just be out.
Yeah.
We have Giovanni again says Malcolm became the first merge boot to be voted out pre-merge because all intents and purposes, this was like a one-time merge. For sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have Giovanni who says, I think Michelle Yee from Fiji was more screwed. I think like if we did like a podcast on like the top 5 most screwed people, Michelle Yee would be there. This Malcolm one would be there. It'd be hard to rank.
It's definitely in the top 5. But I mean, we threw out like 4 earlier. We had like the Malcolm, Michelle, Aaron, and Savage. Like those are the 4 that we threw out off the top of our heads.
Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty more that we'll have in there. Richard Underwood says, would you put Malcolm on a legend season after last week? I absolutely would. I don't think this really harms Malcolm, and if anything, it makes it more – he might never play again. Yeah, but I really think that like this makes it even more of like he's going to be hungrier if he does get to play again, and I think this is such a legendary moment that, yeah, he's definitely –
See, I disagree. I think he's a lock for a 4th time.
He was very down about it in his exits because he was like, 3 times always seems like the max you're going to play, and that's why I was so hurt by this because I'm like, oh, my God, I did nothing wrong, and now it's, my 3rd time. I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like – I think Malcolm would do it because he has fun doing it, but I don't think he's one of those people who's going to play till he wins. I just think he loves playing Survivor.
Yeah, I think he would do well on a Legend season too, kind of like what I mentioned earlier. These winners are never going to do too well unless they're in an all-winners or a Legend season, and I think because Malcolm went out on like – I'm not saying he went out on a high note, but he did nothing wrong and he was doing so well. Malcolm does well, most times that he plays. So if he's on like a returning season, like a fans versus favorite season, I think again, I don't think he does as well. I think he needs to be on a Legend season with other people who play at his caliber.
Yeah, and I think he does really well on that. I think he would. Loki Lokinen, it really seems like Brad could win this, but will everyone else see how well he's playing?
I think they're starting to
see, post-merge, because obviously Tavua doesn't get to see any of this happen. We never saw him go to a tribal, before the swap. So I guess, people will have to see it post-merge.
Yeah.
Dennis O'Connell, I'm confused on why Aubrey has been getting nothing. I know she was really well liked and everyone went crazy after she got screwed, in quotes. So I'm curious on why they haven't given anything to her. Hopefully she doesn't get a bad edit.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this ad nauseum. I think, there's a lot of other people. She'll probably make a little bit of a deeper run. She's more of a chance than other people on her tribe. I think we will see some Aubrey because the production knows that we can't have no Aubrey. People love Aubrey.
Yeah. No, exactly. We're going to get some. She's not going anywhere yet. That's all it comes down to, I think. And I think now that tribe is probably going to lose this week and maybe even the week after because of how weakened they are. Aubrey's going to start picking up. They're going to have to start going Aubrey. I'm hoping this season doesn't turn into a mana Pagani, and is Malcolm the greatest fourth boot ever. I'd have to go back and look at fourth boots, but I'm sure
Can't think of any. Was Kelly Wentworth a fourth boot?
Was she fourth or fifth?
She might have been fifth. I
don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go do some research on fourth boots because I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. We have Johnny Talks Sports. If each tribe loses, here's who goes home. Nuku, JT, if he finds an idol, then Sandra, Mana, Haley, Tavua, Andrew, because Roy's not playing idol. That's kind of what we were, talking anyway. So that's kind of along the same thinking of our whole power rankings. Wentz Acosta, going away from Survivor for a moment. I think this might be our last comment. So this is a good one to end on, I think. How different is the TV Game of Thrones and book? The first book is very on par, and then it starts drifting away. And then 2, Alexa girl, where's that drinking game?
Oh my gosh, I actually left it in my office. Oh my God, I have it. I have it drafted up, but I have it on a notepad that is not in my apartment. So why don't we do it at the recap?
On the recap. We might have to. I can't believe you are doing that at work, Alexa. That's just,
I know, yeah. That's don't. Good thing none of you know where I work. Anyways.
One last one I want to read here. George Dunn. Do you think that Monica Culpepper could have put a pregame alliance between Troyzen and Brad?
Wow. What a wing woman.
Thought about that? I forget what Troyzen and Monica's relationship was like. Did they even have one?
Wow. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go rewatch that. I never thought of that. Wow, that's some good insight there.
That'd be interesting. So
what would Monica do? What would Monica do?
Probably not play with Troyzen, to be honest with you.
Good point. But make it to the final tribal council.
That's true. All right. That's it. We read every comment. Or not every comment, obviously, but we read a lot of comments. And
how you feeling, Phil? That was like, I think the last time I checked, it was 146 comments. That was our, like you said, that was one of our most watched, most commented on videos that we've ever made.
Which is dope, but it just makes these predictions very long. And when I keep reading, trying to skip the ones that have a lot of similarity, but it's hard to do.
And it's also unfortunate that over 6,000 people watched me screw around with my router for 12 minutes while you were talking to yourself.
I think somebody is now stealing food from your fridge too.
Yeah, there's a couple intruders here.
Yeah, somebody just walked in wearing like a parka, and now they're stealing food from you.
Yeah, it's terrible. I should probably go alleviate that situation.
Yeah, totally. Or just let them do it.
That being said, give us a follow on Twitter at Phil_and_Will. Tweet at us, subscribe to us on YouTube, leave us a comment. We'll read it on our next podcast, and then give us a watch. We're going to do a recap of episode 5, I believe it is, Wednesday after the episode.
I do want to say the one thing too. People are asking, this isn't episode 5, this is episode 4. CBS was so inconsistent with that at the beginning. They were calling the premiere episode 1, and then they put like episode 3, and like all of a sudden now they're calling this episode 4, and like they kind of like went back and changed it. But then their official like recap podcast thing that Andrew does, they called the last one episode 4. So I have no idea. So we just kind of went with it.
Let's stick with it. We'll stick with the original. Stick with the plan.
Keep trucking along. But that is it, I think, right?
I think so too.
All right, go get the intruder out of your house, and we will see you all on Wednesday.
See you on